Hey everyone, I just wanted to check in now that we have finished the coursework for our course. Crazy, right? The only thing left is the final project. So I just wanted to make a couple of comments. I will continue reading your blog posts on the Beast and Contraband Corridor and have feedback on those within the next couple of days. And of course, remember that if you want some feedback on your final before submitting it, as long as you get it to me by April 30th, I'll be able to do that for you. The final deadline for final projects is Thursday, May 2nd. So we have almost 2 weeks, we'll say a week and a half, to focus on those projects. And I know this is probably isn't your only class, and you've got a lot of other things going on, but hopefully within that time frame, you'll be able to get all of the time that you would like and that you need to complete that. So as I mentioned, the final deadline for that project and for all other late work in the course is Thursday, May 2nd by midnight. I have to grade everything and turn grades around pretty quickly, um, so that is the deadline I do have to stick to. As I've mentioned in the syllabus and elsewhere, do remember that the lowest score on blog posts, on reading comments, and on discussions is dropped. And also remember that late work, I do accept late work with no penalty, so you can still turn in assignments that you missed. If you have questions or need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. Um, and I think that's all of the housekeeping stuff to get to. Just in terms of rereading The Beast and reading Contraband Corridor, I know that book's a few years old now, but I just came across it last summer. And so I wanted to use it this semester along with The Beast for those of you in the graduate section of the class. Um, and I was interested in the ways that you drew parallels and comparisons between Oscar Martinez's firsthand experience with migrants traveling through Mexico, essentially coming to the United States on La Bestia, or that train that can be so dangerous for so many different reasons, because of trafficking issues, just because of the physical strain and effort that it takes to get on the train without injuring yourself badly or killing yourself. Um, so, again, that's something that we've commented on in the past over the course of the semester is this idea that people don't migrate unless they feel like every other option has been foreclosed, right? It's not a decision that anybody takes lightly. The book, The Beast, opens with those brothers from El Salvador or Honduras. Now I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. Because both are equally violent in terms of gangs and you know people just trying to live their lives but can't because of the gangs will find ways to push them either to become involved or will commit violence against them or whatever it might be. So the brothers are trying to escape. Some of them left behind. Well, they all left behind family, but the oldest left behind wife and children. Um, again, it's a life or death situation for them, and that's often what it comes down to. And so when we talk about migration, then I hope that this week especially is kind of hit home and uh, rounded out this notion that we can't just talk about the border and we can't just talk about migration as if it's an issue that we don't have anything to do with. These are global trends, global issues economically, politically, and socially that the United States has played a role in. If we look at US history in Latin America in the late 20th century, or even going a little bit further back up to the present, it's not a good story. We have intervened um, economically, sometimes militarily, clandestinely, to destabilize the governments where a lot of these people are facing the kinds of issues that we've been reading about. We are not, and I say we, as a country, as a nation, we are not uh, on the sidelines. We're a direct player in this issue, and people are coming here because there are opportunities, or at least they believe that if there's going to be an opportunity anywhere, it's going to be the United States. But as we've seen, some people stay in Mexico. Some people inhabit the Mexico-Guatemala border, as we read in Contraband Corridor, and they don't see what they're doing as contraband. They see it as el negocio, or business as usual, and they find a way to make a life. They find a way to get their children to have birth certificates in Mexico and Guatemala where possible, just so that they can try to have as many opportunities as possible. And so, again, I hope that this class in general has given you a broader perspective on the issues of migration that can be so polarizing and often be talked about in terms that are, not, they don't provide enough context for understanding the actual situation and a lot of the kind of political back and forth that we hear. One other thing I was thinking about that has been on my mind throughout my academic career is the way that we tie basic human rights up with citizenship. So what I mean by that, and I'm trying not to sneeze, it's the cottonwoods are blooming. There's cotton blowing around all over in West Side Albuquerque today, and I can feel it. But anyway, this notion that there are basic human rights, I mean, I think that's something that most of us believe in. But the only way those are guaranteed is through some sort of citizenship in the global system of nations that we currently have. And so your citizenship, if what nation you're in, will determine what rights you have access to. And I mean, if we're being honest, we can see that a little bit in the United States in terms of the federal system that we have, meaning there's state and local governments as well as a national government. We can kind of see that here too. Depending on what state you're in, increasingly will determine what rights you have access to in terms of where you're a resident and where you're claiming citizenship. And then, of course, we saw in the Beast that there are some people who can't claim any citizenship at all. They're stateless, meaning that they're essentially in limbo and there's nothing that guarantees their rights except for the goodness of others along the way. And unfortunately, as Martinez shows us, you can't always count on the goodness of others when you're someone who's impoverished trying to make it from Central America to the United States. So this is a little bit of a downer, but I didn't mean it to be that. But I'm hoping that from these lessons we can take some optimism. We can take a better, more complete picture of what's going on at the border, what's going on with migration, and that we can treat each other more justly, more humanely in the future. Shameless plug, if you made it this far, if you stayed with me to the end, a few of you have already signed up for my Mexican Revolution class. It's History 466, 466, 566, depending on which level you're at. If you're interested in that, if you need another history class, I'm teaching that this summer. It is a 4-week intensive, but it's a lot of fun. And if you enjoyed this class at all, you will probably like that one too. So if that interests you, please join us. And otherwise, I'm sure I'll make another video before we sign off for good this semester. But I did want to tell you, thank you for all your hard work. Best of luck, and I'll talk to you soon.